Don't know who that lady is in the background, but she looks absolutely furious. Hello, my name's Gavin. This is Genre Books, and this is the 11th of my bookshelf exploration excavations. And this is take 2. Once again, my audio let me down. So this is my second pass at these particular books. So I shall be experiencing a lot of deja vu. And this is today mostly science fiction and fantasy. So let's get straight into it. Starting with a few Clifford D. Simak, and we have Strangers in the Universe, The Goblin Reservation, The Visitors, A Choice of Gods, Cemetery World, and Destiny Dawn. A couple of Penguin classic green cover mysteries from George Simenal, Maigret Sets a Trap, and Maigret Has Scruples. A late 80s Bantam paperback from Dan Simmons, Phases of Gravity. A clutch of Fred Saberhagen books, The Berserker Wars, Brother Berserker, The Broken Lands. And before I go to the next book, in case you missed what that said on the cover, who rides an atomic elephant dare not dismount. So, words of advice. And The Black Mountains. Watchstar from Pamela Sargent, Lord Tedrick from E. Doc Smith, Space Hounds of IPC, and Volume 2 of the Family D'Alembert series, Strangler's Moon. Now, E. Doc Smith, in very big writing there, actually written by Stephen Goldin. Sticking with sci-fi, and another Smith, this time George O. Smith, 1959, Ballantine, The Fourth R. Also from 1959, and a book I don't think is going to survive a reading without falling apart, The Three Legions by Gregory Solon. 3 books from Brian Stableford, or Brian M. Stableford, depending on the mood in which you catch him. The Florians, Balance of Power, and Promised Land. Olaf Stapledon now, and quite daunting 600 pages, double edition here, Last and First Men and Last Men in London. And his tale of a dog born with the mind of a man, Sirius. I think these next 2 books are part of the same series. This is Christopher Stasheff and his Warlock series. So I hope you understand my confusion here. These are part of the same series, unless I'm wrong. King Kobold from 1974, or 1974 printing, and dramatic depiction of a fantastical ship looking like it's about to dash itself upon some rocks. And Ace Books 1995, Quicksilver's Night, with whatever this cover is telling us. Also from Ace Science Fiction, and strangely for this collection, from this millennium, Alan Steele's Coyote, as you can see, clipped at the corner there, so a remaindered copy, always a sign of quality, and Coyote Rising. Both of these tatty old copies, definite reading copies, but I picked these up for I think £1 at Hale Y, their outdoor bookstore, so I wasn't expecting absolute pristine condition. Arrow Books edition of Wilson Tucker's The Year of the Quiet Sun. This is a very strong recommendation from Duncan from Backaway from the Donkey. So I will pay attention to his recommendation and try to slot this book in the near future. James Tiptree Jr. next, and a book that I actually bought brand new, which is unusual for me these days. This is 10,000 Light Years from Home. And one that I picked up for a couple of pounds from a charity shop, which sounds much more like me. That is Brightness Falls from the Air. And from Pan, this is her work from 1978. This is Up the Walls of the World. A short story collection that came free with Focus magazine, or came free with Focus magazine for somebody because I got it at a charity shop. This has stories by Arthur C. Clarke, Simon R. Green, Peter F. Hamilton, Paul J. Macaulay, Ian MacDonald, who obviously didn't deserve a middle initial, Nicholas Royal, Michael Marshall Smith, and Ian Watson. I see this next author's books about all over the place. I've not yet read one, but I do have a couple. He specialises in alternate histories. This is Harry Turtledove and the Great War American Front. So, First World War story, but an alternate version. And straight fantasy from him. This is King of the North from Baen Fantasy. And I don't know who that lady is in the background, but she looks absolutely furious. Raphael Sabatini's telling of the incredible life of Cesar Borgia, the Banner of the Bull. Ace Fantasy from the mid-1980s, Dennis Schmidt, Twilight of the Gods, The First Name. And its sequel, Twilight of the Gods 2, Grower's Other Eye. I'm not entirely sure what's going on there, but it seems to be between consenting adults and there's an angry dog. Orbit Books from 1969, The Demon Breed by James H. Schmitz. Penguin Classics this time, and Arthur Schnitzler, Dream Story. This, it says here, is, I think I actually got this at the time, so a special edition for Guardian readers. So a translated piece of European literature, free with the Guardian. So possibly the most middle class book on these shelves. Dream Story, or Traumnovelle, was the inspiration for Kubrick's last film, Eyes Wide Shut. A sci-fi anthology from Avon. This is Arabesques, More Tales from the Arabian Nights. Sir Richard Francis Burton, the great translator and annotator of The 1001 Nights, would surely have been delighted by Arabesques. I know I was, said Philip Jose Farmer. This has stories by Susan Schwartz, Larry Niven, Gene Wolfe, Tanith Lee, Jane Yolen, Esther M. Freisner, Nancy Springer, Andre Norton, Judith Tarr, Elizabeth Scarborough, Melissa Scott, William R. Fortune, Harry Turtledove, M.J. Eng, and Susan Schwartz again. So, some proper famous names, a couple that are new to me, and I really do want to read the Arabian Nights, and I think I will have to read that first before I read this, but I'm tempted. Another fantasy anthology, and another fantasy anthology edited by Susan Schwartz, this time with Martin H. Greenberg. This is Sisters in Fantasy Volume 2, including stories from Jane Yolen, Diana L. Paxson, Nancy Springer, Ellen Guyon, Pamela Dean, Sharon Newman, Lee Barwood, Valerie J. Freireich, Susan Schwartz, Janny Lee Simner, Rebecca Orr, Esther Fraser, Susan Casper, Martha Sukup, Rue Emerson, Sherwood Smith, Barbara Delaplace, Lois Tilton, and Beth Meacham. A number of Bob Shaw books now. Cosmic Kaleidoscope, 1 Million Tomorrows, Nightwalk, Shadow of Heaven, and Tomorrow Lies in Ambush. 1969 from Mayflower and Robert Sheckley's Mindswap. Handbook from 1964, Neville Shute, No Highway. And someone from January 1965 is using this letter as a bookmark. It's from the Holiday Fellowship. Thank you for sending us your completed booking form and deposits covering your proposed holiday at our Lake Ossiac Centre. We must, however, further advise you that we have been obliged to defer acceptance of further bookings for this centre pending receipt of an inspection report regarding annex accommodation now on offer to us. We are meanwhile provisionally reserving for you accommodation at Meyerhofen for your 24th of July departure, and we will communicate with you further in the near future. So this lady may or may not have gone on holiday. Let's hope she did, and let's hope she had a good time. 2 books from 1960, or printed 1960, both from Pan, both by Alan Sillitoe. Saturday Night and Sunday Morning, and The Loneliness of the Long Distance Runner. Tandem Sci-Fi from 1968, The Time Hoppers by Robert Silverberg, and more Silverberg, The Stepsons of Terror, and To Live Again. I have, I think, the whole Riverworld series now, but for some reason book 5 is in a different place to the other 4. This is Gods of Riverworld by Philip Jose Farmer. A fantasy trilogy now from Orbit, from Tanith Lee. We have The Birthgrave, Shadowfire, and Quest for the White Witch. Killer Chandra from Anne McCaffrey, Pebble in the Sky from Isaac Asimov, and a couple from Edgar Pangborn, Davy, and The Company of Glory. In the home straight now, and some trilogies coming up. We've already had one trilogy just now with the Tanith Lee. Here is another from Mike Jeffries. The series is from the mid to late 80s, and it's called The Lawmasters of Elundium, and begins, well, it's classic fantasy in the great tradition of Tolkien and Donaldson. It begins with The Road to Underfall, Palace of Kings, and Shadowlight. We have another Mike Jeffries book. This is book 2 of the Heirs to Nalsmere, Hall of Whispers, and a trilogy of chunky proportions. It can only be fantasy. Baker's Boy by J.V. Jones, and A Man Betrayed, and Master and Fool. Adventure now from Hammond Innes, The Black Tide. 3 Penguin crime books from William Haggard, Closed Circuit, The Unquiet Sleep, and Venetian Blind. And a bit of a strange book to finish with, one that I will be reading, hopefully, in the next year, as part of my books looking at lost civilizations and underground and undiscovered places. This is Leslie Halliwell's Return to Shangri-La, a sort of sequel to Lost Horizon from James Hilton. Leslie Halliwell is best known for writing Halliwell's film guides. He's a film critic, and I think we've just discovered what his favourite film might be. It's a novel, but it's about someone who's grown up with the James Hilton Lost Horizon story, and looks like he's trying to find the place himself. So yeah, that intriguing when I saw that, and I had to have that. So I haven't actually read Lost Horizon yet, so definitely have to read that one first. But I'm looking forward to discovering what this is like. So as an idea for a book, that just seems to fall in a very strange place. I'm looking forward to that one. And that's it for this week. Please, please let the audio have worked this time. But until next time, bye.